Hello, welcome to Code Hurry. So let's start with introduction to Python. I'll just give you a quick overview of what we are going to study in this session today. So first we'll see Python installation. Then I've also included PyCharm and Jupyter installation node links in on which we can do it on Windows. The installation and usage of PyCharm and Jupyter Notebook, I'll cover it in separate session. Here today I'm just going to give you the links to install so that you can do it of your own. Then we'll see introduction to Python, in which we are going to see first what is Python, uses of Python, ways to execute a Python program, that means ways to run the Python program. Then the classic Hello World program in Python. Then input output in Python, in which first we are going to see input method, which is used to get input from user, and print method, which is used to display output to user. So let's start. First we'll see the installation of Python. So to install Python, link to install Python is this. We'll just go to this link provided, python.org, and this. Okay, here in the download section in source code, here there is the latest version, that is Python 3.8.3. You just have to download this and then the execution can be started with the installer provided. So I've already downloaded. I'll just start the installer and install the Python. So let's start with the installation of Python. So it is very simple. You just need to, okay, here first we have to check this add Python to path, so that you don't need to set the environment variable, that is path variable. It can be done along with the installation. And there are two ways in which we can install: the standard way and the customized installation. I'm going to customize the installation, and then we'll, okay, here I'm going to install my Python in some folder, say Python. Okay, I already have this folder. Okay, where is it? C drive Python. Okay, so here I'll start my installation, and that's all. The installation is started. So once the installation is done, then we can proceed further. So meanwhile, I'll just show you the links for the installation of PyCharm IDE and Jupyter. What is PyCharm IDE and Jupyter IDE? I'll tell you later on. So the link to install PyCharm IDE is this, and the link to install Jupyter Notebook is this. These two are just the IDEs on which we can execute the Python program. Okay, so the setup is successful. That means we have installed the Python successfully. Now let's see a bit theory. That is, what is Python and uses of Python. So what is Python? Python is high level, interpreted, interactive, object oriented, general purpose programming language. So what do you mean by high level? Okay, high level means the syntax of Python language. It is very easy. The code can be written in very the code can be written in a syntax which is very similar to human language. That is called as high level language. You must be aware that earlier we had the low level language, that is machine language, which was written in zeros and ones, because the machine, that is a computer, understands only zeros and ones. But it was very difficult for programmers to write the code in machine in that binary code. So then came a high level language. So high level language, all the popular languages like C, C++, Java, they are all high level language. So it's very easy to write the code. But again, we have a disadvantage that we either need a interpreter or a compiler to execute such program, because the code needs to be translated into machine understandable code, and then the program can be executed. So that is the only disadvantage of high level language. Otherwise, they are the most popular languages. Then what do you mean by interpreted? Interpreted means the, like you must be aware that C is a C language is a compiled language. That means the program written in C language needs to be compiled first and then it can be executed. But Python, we don't need to compile the program. It is while we are trying to execute it, it directly converts the source code into byte code, which is understandable by machine, and in that way it can be executed. So Python is interpreted language, and the advantage of this interpreted language is that it is comparatively faster. Then it is interactive language. What do you mean by interactive language? Interactive means we can actually, on the Python console, we can actually execute the code step by step. We don't need to save the code into separate file, the whole code into separate file and then execute. So we can just execute the programs line by line and check the if there are any errors or not. So for testing purpose, this is a very good advantage that Python is an interactive. We'll see the demo of the how Python is called as interactive language. Then also Python is an object oriented language. You must be aware that Java is an object oriented language. So it in that the object can be bind together with its data and the methods and the functions and the operations which are specific to that, to those particular objects only. So that can be separated. The data and the operations on the particular object can be separated from the remaining code. That is called as object oriented programming, and it provides a what it provides a level of a bit abstraction. So we'll see again the how Python is object oriented in the upcoming sessions. Then it is also a general purpose programming language. General purpose, that means it has varied uses. It can be used in front end programming as well as back end programming. So that is why it is called as general purpose programming language. So now the uses of Python. What are the uses of Python? So it is used to create server-side web applications. Then it is also used to as an interface to connect to database, because it has many modules which are in which there are functions which can be used to connect to databases like MySQL. So that's why Python is used as an interface to connect to database. Then to perform complex mathematics, Python already has many built-in modules in which there are functions which can be used to perform complex mathematical operations. Then it is also used as calculator. Okay, how is it used as a calculator? I'll show you a demo in this session only. Then it is used in machine learning and artificial intelligence, because it is able to perform complex mathematics, and it has already has some modules which performs complex algorithms which are used in machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that's why Python is the most popular language in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and much more. So these are just a few uses of Python which I have mentioned. There are many other uses of Python. So now ways to run the Python program. How the Python program can be executed. So there are two ways to execute the Python program. First is interactive interpreter to run Python. So how do we do it? Once we have installed Python, so we have to run Python on command prompt in Windows as follows. So I'll just show you. So we have to type Python command. So I'll show you the demo just right now. We'll start the command prompt here. I'll type Python. See, because we have installed Python, so it shows which latest version it is installed. Now after this, we have to just type the code, whatever code we want to type. So I'll just type print hello. See, so it has given the output print hello. That is why it is called as interactive. I'll just show you the other. Say suppose we type welcome to code hurry. See, it is written welcome to code hurry. It has displayed. Okay, I can just I told you that Python is also used as a calculator. So how it is used? You just need to write the whatever operation you want directly. Like how do you do in calculator? So 5 plus 6, it's given 11. So this is a very good advantage of Python. It can be used as a calculator. We can do any type of mathematical operations here. So which can be done in calculator. So this is how it is done. See, it can be done. So once we have done, we just need to type exit function, so we can get with the Python shell and then exit. So this is how it is done. Okay, we can also execute the Python program on IDE. What is IDE? IDE means integrated development environment. Editing part, the debugging part, plus the execution part. All these things, tasks can be done, in together in a single application. So that is called as IDE. There are many IDEs to execute Python programs like IDLE, Jupyter, PyCharm, Spider, Visual Studio Code, etc. So out of this, IDLE is the IDE which is installed along with the Python. So we'll be using this IDLE, as well as we'll use the PyCharm and Jupyter also in the upcoming sessions. But for now, we'll use just IDLE for the execution of our program. So again, I'll quickly give you a quick demo of how do we install, how do we execute a Python program on IDLE IDE. So let's search where I told you that it is installed along with Python only. So see, once we have installed Python, the IDLE is also shown along with it. So we just need to launch it. We'll start the IDLE IDE. So this is the Python shell which is open. Now here again it is an interactive programming language. So on this shell itself we can directly write whatever we want. We'll just write our classic hello world program. See, it is done. Okay, again one more thing which Python supports is that we can write our we can print the strings within single quote as well as double quote, either of these. Okay, so here we had used the double quotes as you can see, and here we are going to use single quote, so it gives the same output. So it, when we are going to enclose our string within single quote, either single quote or double quote, it knows that it is a string. So this is how it is done. Again, you can do anything, any mathematical operation, so we can use it as a calculator, and that's all. Okay, if you want to save your Python program into separate files, so what you need to do is, here you just need to start a new file, type something, type your program here. Okay, we'll just try it. Okay, and I'll write. Okay, now we need to save this file. Suppose I'm saving it as, you can save it anywhere, but you need to give a proper path of the file if you're going to save it somewhere else. So now I'm just going to name it, okay, as my program, and the extension should be .py. For all the Python programs, the extension should be .py. So that is how I would save the program. Once we have saved the program, what we need to do is we can either run it using this run module option by clicking this option, or we can just type F5. Okay, so to execute the program, so I'll just run this using by clicking this run module. So see, here the output is displayed on the Python shell. So this is how we can do it. Okay, now I can also just click the F5, and again the same output is given. So this is how it can be done. So once we have done, we can just close it, and here again we can just write exit function to exit from the IDE. So it will just kill the IDE process. That's all. So this is how the basic programs can be executed on IDLE IDE. Now the classic hello world program we have already seen. So let's move to input output in Python. So as I told you that to get the input from user, there is a method called as input in Python, and to display the output to user, we have print method. So the input method, what it does, it reads the line from input and converts it into string and then returns a string. That means whatever the user is going to uh, give the input, be it a numeric input or a string input, it will convert it into string and then it will return it as a string only. So if we are going to, if user is going to input some numeric value, you need to convert it into from string to numeric using some functions which we'll see later on. So first we'll see the syntax and usage of input method, how we can get the input from users. So it is very simple. So the syntax of input method is input and the optional argument, that is prompt. Prompt is just an optional string which is displayed on the standard output. Yeah, that is usually a screen which is used to guide user to what the code expects the input from user, so we can write it there. So these are the basic two examples here that I've just written input, getting the value in some message variable, and that I'm typing here. So we'll just again see this example in our IDE. So again I'll start my IDE. So I'll just show you how the input method works. So what I'm doing is message is equal to input. So see, when the input method is executed, the prompt waits for user to type something. User will type till and the prompt will check that input until it encounters the slash in. Slash in is for new line character. So I'll just type it here. Welcome to code Hurry. So if now I type this message, so it gives me that output. Because it is a string, it has enclosed it within the single quotes, as you can see here. Okay, so again I can just have something else. Input message is equal to input, and here I'm just typing 5. So if again I'm trying to display message, so again you can see the, although 5 is a numeric value, it is enclosed within the single quote. That means it has converted that 5 into a string variable. So in this way we can expect get the input from user. We can also give an optional optional prompt to user. Say suppose enter your name. So user will understand that okay, name needs to be uh, given as an input. So if I type here code hurry, so now I'm trying to display the message, so it is coded. You can also display your message using print message. So it is given the whatever the content of variable message is there. So this is how the input method works. Now, so we have seen both the examples. Now the print method. Print method is used to display the output to user. We have already seen the examples. The syntax of print method is this. Print star objects, comma, SCP. SCP means separator is equal to, within single quotes it is a space, single space. So separator by default is a space. Then comma end is equal to slash n. Slash n is for new line character. So by default end is set to new line character. File is equal to sys.stdout, that is system.standard-output. By default this file is set to standard output, that is your screen, and flush is equal to false. By default flush is set to false. So this is how the print syntax is there. The syntax of print method is there. So what are these arguments? We'll see one by one. Objects. Okay, what is objects? So the objects which needs to be printed, that is given as an input. For example, we have just typed print MSG. So MSG was the object which was to be printed. Star indicates that there may be more than one objects. At a time you can type more than one objects. We'll see the examples. Then SCP. By default it is a space. We can set it to other things also. It is used to separate the multiple objects. If we are trying to display multiple objects within print method, using single print method, those objects are by default separated by space. We can change the separator to some other character as well. End is printed at the last. By default it is new line character. That means after every printed output, it goes to the prompt goes to the new line character. So the by default it is new line. Again you can set it to some other character as well. Then file. If omitted, by default it is standard output. Otherwise we need to mention an object with some write method. This is actually done in file handling. We'll see how file can be set to some other file which is used in file handling, so that whatever we are going to display, that will be displayed in some file. It will be written in some file. So we'll see that example in file while we are learning file handling concept. And flush, by default is false. We can set it to true to forcibly flush the stream. The output stream needs to be flushed sometimes, so that we can do it by using flush, by setting this flush variable to true value. The classic hello world example we have already seen, in which print hello world, a single string, that is hello world object, is displayed. Then we can display multiple objects also. So here now what we have done is, x is equal to 5, we have set some variable value, and those variables we are going to print using this print method. So we'll see this example so that you'll understand it better. So what I'm doing is, x is equal to 5. I've set some variable value, x is equal to 5. And now what I'm doing is print in within double quotes, x is equal to, this is one object, x is equal to one string object, comma, second object is this x, the content of x, that means 5. So here we are trying to display two objects in one print method. One, the string x is equal to, and other, the content of x, and those two objects need to be displayed. So you can see here those two objects are displayed here. Again, if you can see, by default I told you that SCP, that is separator, is a space. So here we can see the space. These two objects are separated using the single space. So this is how the objects can be, multiple objects can be displayed. Again, try to have some other variable, and I'll try to display 3 objects at a time. So I'll just write here print x is equal to, comma, the content of x, comma, is equal to y. So now what I'm doing is, I'm trying to display 3 objects. One is the string x is equal to, second is the content of variable x, and third is again a string is equal to y. So let's see. See, here it has displayed 3 objects, and all 3 objects are separated using single space. This is how we can display multiple objects. After this, we can change the separator also and the end character also. So let's see this example. What I'm doing is, I'm trying to display 2 objects, x is equal to, comma, x. These are the 2 objects, and I need to change the separator. Instead of space, what I'm doing is, I'm just going to add 5 zeros, and I'll change the end character also with, now it was only one new line character. That means after every printed statement it was going to new line character in new line. So I'll just have 3 new line characters, and that's all. So this is how we have done it. So let's see the output of this print method. So this is the, as you can see, instead of here it was space, now here there are 5 zeros. 5 zeros are there to separate the 2 objects, and as you can see, the 3, we wanted 3 new line characters, 1, 2 and 3. This is how we can have it, we can change. Okay, so let's again see one more example. That is, here we are trying to set the separator to single zero and the end to a tab space. So how it will work, we'll see it. So print x is equal to comma x, these two objects need to be printed. Separator, we just want it to be single zero, and end character, we just want it to be tab. Slash t means tab space, one tab space. So let's see the output of this print method. So this is how the output is. Okay, how do we know that it has taken the slash one tab space? So you as you can see here, see here, one tab space is included after the printed statement. Here it was not there, it was going to the new line character. So here it is printed one tab space, and then it has gone to the next line. So this is how we can print the statements using different separators and the end characters. Okay, I can have the end character as backslash also. So I'll just show you this example. Print. I'm trying to display by comma and is equal to within double quote with single quotes backslash. So it will give me backslash as a end character. So let's see the output. So see, it has included a backslash as an end character. So this is how the print method can be used to display the multiple objects or a single object with different separators and the end characters. That's all for today. So I'll just exit from this. So that was all. Stay tuned and keep learning. Do subscribe.